This is a new update collection about, and here I will bring first of all some new albums, some new releases, also of this year, the beginning of this year, from the beginning of 2023, but some albums also from 2022, but also some other albums. No, so let's start. Here, first of all, we have the new Xentrix album, the Thrashers from United Kingdom. They came back in the last months of 2022 with this album, 7 Words. Continues the way that they started with the album before, and this is a very good a very good album of thrash metal. And yes, Xentrix, they came back. They came back full the way. And I will continue now with another band and another album that many people expected it. And I'm speaking about Ahab. I don't know how to prefer it well. Here we have the new album of them, also of 2022, the Coral Tombs, the name of the album. This is the 5th album of this German band of funeral doom, let's say. But in the last 2 rocks of them, they are even more close to Opeth than to funeral doom that they were in their, let's say, first albums of them. A good album, but I prefer even more than their first works, especially the first album. And now another album, also thrash metal, Razor from Canada. They came back after so many years. The last album of them was Decibel, something like that. So after so many years, they came back, the Canadian Thrashers, with the album Cycle of Contempt. This is the album. And can say it's okay, but not something so special. But as a Razor, of course, it's okay. I prefer also their first albums. That really Razor was and one of my great favorite thrash metal bands from Canada. And now an album that became so famous inside 2023, a new album, but from the beginning of this year, it has to be one of the killer albums of all the year, and I'm speaking about the new Obituary. And this is exactly a very good album by the name Dying of Everything, with a very good also cover art, real back to form about these deathsters from United States. Another new album of a band that I didn't know before, Barbarian, and they came from Italy. So this is the new album of them of 2022 by the name Viper Face. Great style of something between Motorhead and Manowar, and maybe a little bit more speed. So if you take Manowar and you take speed metal and Motorhead and combine everything together, you have Barbarian. And this is great album, really. Now another also very good album of my favorites of 2022, Lorna Shore, deathcore, and maybe for me one of the best deathcore bands of today. This is the new album of them, also of 2022, by the name Pain Remains, and they play a style of atmospheric blackish deathcore, let's say. Another band with a great album of 2022, The Chasm, these guys are from Mexico, and they play death metal, of course, death metal. Their new album of them, The Scars of Lost Reflective Shadow. Wow, this is one of the great death metal albums of 2022. And I will continue with the last year. Kampfar also came back. Kampfar is a pagan black metal band from Norway, and they came back with this album. This album and the album before, they are great albums of them. Also, the cover art is very good. The name is still Kloverstankt, something like that in Norwegian, if I'm not sure. The name of the album, very nice. Another also black metal release in the last days of the last year of 2022, Hate Forest from Ukraine. They came back with this album by the name Innermost. Maybe in this album they are a little bit more, let's say, atmospheric. Let's say, okay, we're speaking always about Hate Forest, so you understand. Okay, and now some other also releases that they are a little bit also not so new. First of all, Sacrilege from United States. Sacrilege BC, this is the real name of the band. These guys, they came from United States and they play the style of thrash metal. They have only 2 albums. And this is the album of them came out in the 80s, in the last years of the 80s, something like that. So it's this is not a new album. By the name A Party with God, and this was their debut album of them, thrash metal, the Bay Area style, let's say, and I think that they are from United States. But we have another also band by the name Sacrilege. Also, we have Sacrilege that they play a style of melodic death metal from Sweden. But I'm speaking about maybe the most famous Sacrilege from United Kingdom, with female vocals. And here we have their second album of them. They made only 3 albums. This is the second album, the best album of them, Within the Prophecy. They played the style, they started like a thrash band with crust punk elements, and they became even more doom in their third album. So this is a band something between thrash metal, crust punk, and doom metal all together, but great. And now another band from the Netherlands, Holland, Vulture. And also these guys, they made only 2 albums in the beginning of the 90s. They played the style of speed thrash metal. This is their second and the last album. Came out in 1991, something like that, 92 maybe. I'm not, or 94. I'm not sure. By the name Easier to Lie. This is the album, a great album. of thrash metal the American way, even though they are from the Netherlands. And don't make a mistake, because we have another also Vulture band that they are even more known today and more famous. Vulture from Germany. These guys from Germany, this is the first debut album of them, full-length album, the Guillotine. And they also play speed thrash metal. Now, here I have Mutilation from France, and one of their let's say not from the albums of the beginning of the first albums, but one of the albums afterwards. They play a very special style of black metal. And here we have the album of them by the name Ratten Conning. Yes, like that. Okay, and here I will continue with a melodic death metal release. But they are not like the new wave of Swedish melodic death metal. They are even more old school, let's say old school Swedish death metal. Here we have the album. The band by the name Utumno, okay, and the album Across the Horizon. Great old school Swedish death metal. I think that they are from Sweden. Great. This came out with also an EP of them by the name The Light of Day. And this is great. Across the Horizon, really great, and with a very also good cover art. And now the debut album of Castain. Castain, prefer them well, from United States, I think, if I'm not sure. Mystery of Illusion. This is the album. They play the style of heavy power, epic metal, something all between, but they made it very well. And last but not least, another album and another band by the name Incardin, and these guys, they're coming also from Sweden, and they played also old school Swedish death metal, and they were active in the 90s, the beginning of the 90s. Afterwards they split up, and only in 2021, after so many years the band it does exist, they came with this let's say full-length album, together with some demos of them. And here we have Seeds of Doom. The name of the full length, also great cover art. And here we have also their demos of them, Moment of Connection, and the demo of 1992. Also something very special about Swedish death metal. This is my collection update, my update of my collection of about today. From Israel, from Jerusalem, stay metal and stay heavy.